Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new to the channel, my name is Sophia and I make book-related videos, mainly videos about literary fiction as well as mystery thriller books, but a little bit of everything. And today I am chatting about all the books that I read in February, with a couple of exceptions, which I'll get into. Overall, I'm going to be chatting about 9 books in this video. So overall, a pretty great reading month and a little all over the board in terms of genres that I read. I will note that in this video, I'm going to be a little bit brief or briefer than I normally would be about a few of the books that I've had reading vlogs about, just because I don't want to be too repetitive. So of course I'll tell you what my general thoughts were and a ranking, but if you want more of my detailed thoughts, I will link you over to those videos so that you don't have to hear the same thing over and over. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. So the first books that I'm going to be chatting about are all of Sally Rooney's published novels. This was quite the adventure, but an adventure that I really enjoyed taking. I did film a reading vlog of that experience, but if you're not familiar with Sally Rooney, she has 4 published works. Her first one was Conversations with Friends, then Normal People, Beautiful World, Where Are You, and Intermezzo, which came out last year. She publishes, I would say, contemporary novels that focus on human relationships, specifically romantic relationships. And overall, my experience with Sally Rooney was a very positive one. Conversations with Friends is a novel about 2 friends, Frances and Bobby, who befriend an older couple and become kind of romantically linked with them. I gave this 5 stars. It was phenomenal. Normal People is about Marianne and Connell, who are unlikely high school friends. They come from very different socioeconomic situations. Marianne is very wealthy, Connell is less so. And also social circles. Marianne is relentlessly bullied, whereas Connell is one of the most popular people in his high school. And they become friends after Connell's mother gets a job cleaning Marianne's family's home. And then it's about their friendship throughout their whole life. I also gave this 5 stars. I thought it was excellent. Next, we have Beautiful World, Where Are You? This was my least favorite of her books, but it's about a famous writer who becomes a little reclusive and buys a large home by the seaside, and her relationship with one of her best friends, as well as her situationship with somebody that she meets online. It's kind of hard, I think, to talk about this book fully, but I didn't relate to this one quite as well as her others. I gave this 3 stars. Finally, Intermezzo is a story about 2 brothers, Ivan and Peter. Ivan is a chess champion. Peter is a lawyer, attorney, and you pick up the story right after the death of their father. I gave this one a 4 stars. And I will say, this is, I think, the first author that I have annotated all of their works, and it's just so satisfying to look at all my tabs together. Next up, I did another reading vlog, but this time it was about Coco Mellors and her 2 published novels, Cleopatra and Frankenstein, as well as Blue Sisters. I didn't get along quite as well with Coco Mellors, unfortunately, and I kind of wish that I had loved her work more, but for a couple of reasons, it just didn't jive with me, mainly like her writing style. I just found to be difficult to follow and to really sink into. Her first work, Cleopatra and Frankenstein, is about 2 people who kind of get married on a whim and the fallout of that with the people in their social circle and their family. I gave this a 3 stars. And then Blue Sisters is about three sisters 1 year after the death of the fourth sister and their experience with grief. They all lead very different lives, and they all kind of respond to the grief in different ways. I ended up giving this one 2 stars. I also annotated these, but not as successfully or satisfyingly as Sally Rooney's, I think. Next up, we have Demon of Unrest, which I think is the only book in this video that I haven't talked to you about anywhere else. But this is about Erik Larson. He is known for writing nonfiction books, but in a very accessible way. I've read a couple of his other works, forgetting the name of one of them, but the Winston Churchill book and also Devil in the White City. And overall, I've really enjoyed his books so far. This one is about different people surrounding the beginning of the American Civil War in the late 1850s to early 1860s. It follows a number of people at that time period, but among them are Major Robert Anderson, who was the commander at Fort Sumter and was a former slave owner who had some sympathies to the South, but also a lot of loyalty to the Union. Edmund Ruffin, who is a terrible person, but basically a very racist person who lives in the South and very much wants secession from the Union, as well as Mary Chestnut, who is the wife of a prominent planter and a very famous diarist from the time period, as well as several others, including Abraham Lincoln himself. This book's structure is really interesting because it is literally like a trickle of days leading up to the beginning of the American Civil War. And what I mean by that is that, we follow like March 20th through 21st, and then March 23rd through 24th. Like, it is a very slow progression in the lives of these people. And overall, I think it was quite compelling. It did really bring up the tensions of the time in a really excellent way. However, you really have to be interested in this time period, I think, to enjoy this. If you don't have a lot of interest in the American Civil War, it is a bit slow at times. Having said that, I did overall enjoy it, and I did give it 3 stars. Next, we have How to Sleep at Night by Elizabeth Harris. I also have a non-spoilery review of this on my channel, but this is a novel about a couple, Ethan and Gabe. It's a contemporary novel, and basically they have been married for several years. However, Ethan has slowly kind of veered more to the right in terms of his politics, whereas Gabe is very much a liberal. And at the beginning of the book, Ethan lets Gabe know that he is running for Congress, and so starts very tumultuous time in their relationship. I ultimately gave this one a 2 out of 5 stars. I didn't really feel like it answered the question or the central issue of, can we get along even if our politics are very different? It kind of danced around it a bit, and it just didn't really jive with me. However, there were parts of this that I really enjoyed, namely how children were written in this book, as well as the short chapters and the pretty readable pace. So I could see myself picking up a future book of hers, but this just wasn't for me. And finally, my favorite book of the month is The Story of a Heart. This is a nonfiction story about 2 children. Kira, who unfortunately is in a car accident at age 9 and is brain dead, and Max, who is in basically end-stage heart failure, and the remarkable selfless decision of Kira's family in what they think Kira would want to donate Kira's organs to save the lives of other children. Max, of course, is the recipient of Kira's heart. And this book is all about this remarkable story, as well as many of the scientific discoveries kind of surrounding monumental moments in their story. This was absolutely phenomenal. I give it 5 stars. So with that, those are all of the books that I read in the month of February. I would love to know what you read this month. What was your favorite book of the month? And have you read any of the books that I talked about in this video? Please let me know what you thought about them in the comments down below. And with that, I will see you guys very soon with another video. Bye.